So I has a brew. I also have pizza pockets. These things are fucking amazing. They do some in Tesco's at the moment. They're just like little pockets of deliciousness. So the OnePlus 2 that was announced last night, about 2 AM, I think, Great British time. So I'm going to run through the specs. I'm going to compare it and contrast it against the OnePlus 1. And then let's just talk about it, because why the F not? So specs-wise, Qualcomm Snapdragon 810, a 1.8 GHz octa-core CPU, Adreno 430, GPU, 5.5-inch 1080p screen, 401 PPIs for those that are interested. It's an LCD panel, 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage. There's also a 16GB model as well. A 30MP camera, dual LED flash, 4K video, 720 slow-mo, 120 frames a second. Fingerprint reader, 330 mAh LiPo battery, USB Type-C, 2 times 4G nano SIMs, which is pretty cool. Weighing in 175 grams, so not actually that much heavier than the old one. Unfortunately, no NFC, which is kind of a bit shit. So, let's do a compare and contrast against the OnePlus 1, because I think that's kind of an interesting place to start, and kind of go from there. So the OnePlus 1 had a Snapdragon 801, running at 2.5 GHz. The new version, the OnePlus 2, has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 810, running at 1.8 GHz. Now, this is an octa-core, but it's not kind of like 4 or 8 cores with like everything in this one sort of thing. So it's got a Cortex A53 and a Cortex A57. They're both quad-core CPUs in their own right. The A53 does low power kind of stuff. The A57 does higher power stuff. So A53 deals with just run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. Let's say, I don't know, just general system processes that don't really require that much power. A57 will deal with the more sort of power-hungry things, so the GPU handling, things like if you want to game on it, if you want to be filming in 4K video, if you want to do some video editing, photo editing, all that other kind of stuff, the A57 is going to be doing all the work. There's a really interesting article by Anantech, which I'll put in the description below, about what the Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 is and what the Cortex A53 is and the A57 is. This chipset and these kind of these individual CPUs were announced back in 2012, so they're not new. But it's cool that OnePlus is actually including this in the OnePlus 2, which is pretty sweet. In terms of GPUs, Adreno 330 on the old OnePlus 1, Adreno 430 in the new one. So basically the next 100 series up. 3GB of RAM in the last version of the OnePlus, and 3GB on the 16GB model, and 4GB on the 64GB model for the OnePlus 2. I'm saying gigabytes way too much. Now, camera's interesting. Basically, it's exactly the same. The only difference, so 13MP camera. The only real difference between the two, both got dual flash, etc., etc., is the laser autofocus. So with the LG G3, this is when this is kind of brought into the mainstream, they had laser autofocus, which meant that you used lasers to kind of calculate autofocusing, which is pretty cool. It means that hopefully autofocusing will be better, because autofocusing on the OnePlus was pretty shit. Generally, the camera on the OnePlus was a bit crap. To be fair, most cameras on Android phones are pretty diabolical. They might chuck loads of megapixels in there, but the lenses are usually shit. The actual system that runs it's usually shit. And the software that kind of just runs it is just generally pathetic. Exactly the same 1080p screen, 401 pixels per inch, nothing special there, 5.5 inches. The OnePlus 1 had a Corning Gorilla Glass 3, the new version, OnePlus 2 has a Corning Gorilla Glass 4. It's also slightly heavier, so the old one was 162 grams, the new one 175. Not really going to make much difference, that extra couple of grams is not really going to matter that much. One big difference is, though, the new version not having NFC, which is kind of annoying, especially for me, because I use NFC nearest damn it every day. They're also bringing in Type-C on the new version, so the old version had micro USB, and the new one has Type-C, which is pretty sweet. Slightly bigger battery, which could mean increased battery life, but I doubt it. Because of the better CPU, I suspect we probably won't get an increase in battery life. It'll probably be roughly about the same, maybe a little bit more, but I doubt it very much. The screen is exactly the same screen. That's probably going to be your biggest battery hog. So you might find you have a bit extra battery life. There's no battery test out currently yet, because it's obviously not out in the wild. But hopefully that'll come in due course. Dual nano SIM in the new version of the OnePlus, which is pretty sweet. This is quite handy if you, say, want to have just a dedicated data SIM because you save some money, and then just a dedicated voice and data SIM maybe because it's cheaper for you, or say you're in the middle of nowhere and when you're at work you can get one network, and when you're not at work, when you're at home, you get another network. or just as a failover or whatever the hell you want anyway. So that's pretty cool. In terms of price then, original launch price for the OnePlus One was $229 for the 16GB model and $269 for the 64GB model. So on the new OnePlus 2 it's $239 16GB and $289 64GB. So it's not actually that bad. It's only an extra 20 quid, which isn't too bad at all really, considering the amount of extra beastiness you're getting with that new Qualcomm Snapdragon 810. So the new OnePlus 2, am I going to buy one? Probably. It kind of depends on if I can get my hands on one, if I get an invite or not. It's really interesting to kind of see where OnePlus have gone with this. So it's kind of nothing special. If you currently have a OnePlus One, it's probably not going to be worthy of an upgrade, because the OnePlus One is just effing amazing in terms of specs, in terms of price, in terms of everything really. There's nothing downside about OnePlus. And now they sorted out their actual customer services, there's nothing saying to me that you should avoid OnePlus anymore. There was always that risk that basically customer service was shit. Currently customer service is damn good, and they do respond to you within 3 working days, which is damn good. Admittedly, you're not going to get the same level of services if you went with Samsung, or if you went with Sony, or if you went with any of the big players, but you're paying like less than half the price for the same kind of spec. So what do you expect? Like, people kind of go on and say, oh, you know, the customer service is crap. Yeah, the customer service was crap, and it's got a lot better. But let's not forget, you're paying, I don't know, let's say, well, it's probably about 600 quid for like an S6. A Samsung Galaxy S6 will probably set you about 500, 600 quid. It'll probably drop down to about 400. I haven't quite looked at what the market prices are currently, but they're quite high. You're paying $289 for this new device. I mean, for Christ's sake, you're not going to get the best customer service ever. It's an effing good price. You're getting some fantastic hardware there. You're getting some fantastic software. CyanogenMod is not that bad. Oxygen OS, obviously, which has been bundled with the new version of the OnePlus, is pretty damn good as well. So, you know, it's nothing to kind of cry about, which is what a lot of people are doing and will do. And certainly, I mean, I'm a fanboy for OnePlus. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's a great idea. Are they the best phone manufacturer ever? No, definitely not. Are they offering you the best for the money? Definitely. Like, that price point is insane. For what you're getting is absolutely insane. So I think it is a bloody good price and definitely worth checking out. It's annoying there's no NFC, but hey, we can't win them all. According to OnePlus, they are actually removing it because nobody uses NFC in their previous iteration. I don't know how much of a percentage that is in terms of usage stats. I imagine it's probably quite a high percentage of people didn't use it, and maybe, let's say, like 5% of people used it. I use NFC every day. It's not going to cost them any money to put it in. It's annoying they left it out. You know, I shall live. It's not going to be a big thing for me. I'm certainly not going to be using Google Wallet, so it doesn't matter. I don't particularly think those that are going to be buying OnePlus devices are going to care too much about NFC. I think they're going to more care about the fact it's a brand, the fact it's open source, the fact that it's better than the alternative to everything else. Although it does have to now compete with the Moto X style, which is effing brilliant. That was announced, I think, again today. So, you know, it's got a lot of competition, but I think it'll do a really good job. And I'm really looking forward to actually how it sort of fares against the rest of the market. It's certainly not going to do as well as any of the other flagship models, because you can't get it in Carphone Warehouse or any other major retailer in the UK or in the US either. So, you know, it's not going to be the default smartphone. It's certainly not going to be the most popular, but certainly it is definitely going to be one to look out for. I will put an invite link, well, not an invite link, I'll put my invite link in the description below for where you can actually get yourself into the queue. It currently stands at 500,000. It'll probably be up to almost 1 million by the time this video gets uploaded. So apart from that, I shall catch you in a later video. This is actually the first video I've done in fucking ages. I've also managed to get my setup properly here, so I've got a decent microphone now. I still need to sort out, I've got my PC setup, which